Welcome to SVG TV News for Monday, February 19th, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The first anniversary of operation of the Argyle International Airport was celebrated on Saturday evening with a rally hosted at the site. The project has been described as a tremendous feat for SVG, with mountains removed, rivers spanned and valleys filled. While it has become a marvel and symbol of Vincentian's achievement with the help of many, the functioning of the air facility 1 year later has received just as much praise. Speaking at the celebratory rally at Argyle, Finance Minister Camilo Gonçalves told the gathering, "More employment opportunities will soon be made available to Vincentians here at home." Noting that naysayers continue to doubt the projects that the ruling Unity Labour Party has promised, Gonçalves said, one by one, they are coming into fruition.
When we tell you that the government is going to build hotels in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they say it's a lie, tell them Argyle International Airport. And when we tell you that we are going to make electricity cheaper and generate our own electricity using geothermal, and they say it's a lie, tell them Argyle International Airport. We're working for that brighter and better day. When Luke Brown, the Minister of Health, takes you in a few weeks up to Georgetown to see the modern medical complex that they say would never be done, tell them that is another example, just like Argyle International Airport. And when Vincentians are getting dialysis treatment at a government facility in Georgetown, tell them Argyle International Airport. Because we believe. And when we tell you that we are going to build a new port in Bottomtown, a new cargo port, and they tell you it's a lie, tell them Argyle International Airport.
Given the assurance of more job opportunities in various sectors, the Finance Minister said there are several investors who will be doing business with SVG.
That every household in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on average will have a university graduate, and they say lie you are tell them Argyle International Airport. And when we tell you that the jobs are coming in hospitality, in agriculture, in construction, in fisheries, in education, in all of the businesses that will be coming here, and they say it's smoke and mirrors, tell them Argyle International Airport. And when we tell you that we're going to build a brand new city at the site of the old E.T. Joshua plant and make a tunnel through Cane Garden Point, and they tell you it can't be done, tell them Argyle International Airport.
And Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonçalves accused the leader of the opposition and president of the New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, of being hypocritical, noting that it is time that he gives up his Canadian passport. Dr. Gonçalves said at the rally Saturday night that his son, Finance Minister Camilo Gonçalves, gave up his U.S. citizenship, and persons who are serious about running this country must show similar commitment.
Friday must tell you, why is it that if he wants to be Prime Minister of this country, why is it he has a Canadian passport? He mustn't have a each-way bet. He mustn't have a each-way bet. He must put his bet on one horse, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Camilo was born in America. Camilo didn't have to give up his American passport to be in Parliament, you know. But I tell him, when he said he wanted to get involved in politics, I say if you want to get involved, you mustn't treat this like a horse race. Don't do an each-way bet. So he gave up his citizenship in America and commit himself completely to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And he has to apply for a visa to go to America like me and you.
PM Gonçalves also told the gathering that Camilo should maintain his silence in the matter surrounding former fashion model Yogi Farrell. making reference to a biblical scenario.
Him to never a word, insomuch that the governor marveled greatly. Well, Camilo ain't Jesus, but you have to follow wise teachings. You have to follow wise teachings. Now, if you had social media at the time, those who are associated with the high priest and the elders, they would have gone on social media and say, look, hear what they say about Christ, and he wouldn't answer. Must he so? Eh? And when I say to maintain a dignified silence, they want to cuss me.
Meantime, Vincentians are being encouraged not to accept what she calls arrogant silence on important matters from persons in leadership positions. The leader of the Democratic Republican Party, the DRP, Anicia Batiste, gave this advice while serving as a panelist on Magic 103.7 Sunday Brunch program, discussing issues relating to ethics and leadership in SVG. Speaking on the Yogi Farrell saga, Batiste said, whilst the DRP fully supports integrity legislation, which would assist in regulating a public official's behavior, it cannot address moral activities such as marital infidelity, and that Vincentians must not accept arrogant silence on these matters.
The examples that I used were to show not that we should try to legislate how a man behaves morally, as if we could even do that, since every moral wrong starts in the mind and none of us are judges of men's minds, only God is. However, I believe with many of you Vincentians that we deserve respect and a certain level of accountability from our leadership in political office, as well as religious office, as well as in businesses, and that we the people reserve the right to say, this is going too far, we don't want that. And when it comes to particular public scandals which affect the respect of the people and the country's image and so on, you have at least a duty as leaders, including in politics, to say, I'm sorry, or no, I didn't do it, or don't bother with those rumors, look at my work, I am doing my work, say something. Vincentians do not accept silence that is arrogant.
Speaking in relation to recent statements made by Prime Minister Gonsalves, comparing the finance minister's situation to that of a scenario in the Bible, Batiste deemed such statements as blasphemous, noting that it shows a lack of ethical leadership on the part of the Prime Minister.
And then you talk about what your son did and dignified silence. In the first place, Jesus Christ was never accused, and I'm not saying the gentleman is guilty of this, that, or that. I have no evidence. But you can't even compare the accusations. The accusations of Christ was against Christ was that he said he's the king of the Jews, that he said he's the son of God. He was never accused by any woman of any kind of immoral sexual practices or anything like that. So I find when a prime minister of a country who evidently has interest in seeing his son follow his footsteps to become perhaps the next prime minister could go as far as to make such a blasphemous statement in trying to justify the accusations, I'm not even saying the act, because I have no evidence, the accusations against his son and his son's silence in the face of those accusations. That is where you draw the line, and people should be able to say that that is a deficiency in ethical leadership and we don't want that. You can't tell me that that is acceptable.
Batiste also spoke on a statement made by former Prime Minister Sir James Mitchell, which she also believes shows a lack of ethical leadership.
Same when he was asked by the journalist, well, come on, I mean, people in your government did similar things with affairs, even you had an outside child. Do you know what his response was? And I quote, I never sent anyone to mental home, Sir James said. I'm quoting the story. Next quotation, I am not talking about your rights about having a child or having an affair, he said, adding that his questioning mind has wondered about the relationship between Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene. End quote. I am saying, when you start making statements like that, you're not even saying to people, okay, well, look, yeah, Yes, I did it in my time and I'm sorry. I'm remorseful. People shouldn't follow my example. Instead, you give sort of acceptance to behavior by saying, it's not really about having an affair or having an outside child, just as long as you don't send people to mental home. I have an issue with that, and I believe many people in the country figure that that is part of drawing the line when it comes to ethical leadership and what's expected of you in the role of Prime Minister.
Okay. We take you back now to the one-year celebratory rally for the AIA with SVG TV's Sharon Garraway, who brings us a full report.
A large crowd came together on Saturday night just on the outskirts of the Argyle International Airport in celebration of the first anniversary of the air facility. The project has been described as a magnificent edifice and has become a symbol of national pride and achievement. The celebration rally was hosted by Area Representative Frederick Stevenson.
For so long, the air conditioned down, and we now start to sweat, mama. Cause I am the fireman, and I come with a firebrand to burn down all the hypocrites, because that is the fire.
Chairperson of the AIA, Garth Saunders, said that best practices are the hallmark of the Argyle International Airport.
While as travelers and casual observers, you may not be aware, we have all been busy establishing the organizational structure of the AIA, including the different levels and grades of staff. We have interviewed and recruited some 290 top quality, largely young Vincentian nationals. We have trained these recruits with immense help from the Aviation Services Division.
Director of Airports, Corsell Robertson, praised the vision of the ruling Unity Labour Party to construct the air facility and noted that operations at the AIA are much smoother 1 year later.
It is quite clear, absolutely clear, that we have an opportunity here that would not at all have been possible without the Argyle International Airport. I am very pleased to report that aircraft operations have been excellent. Not one single flight has been cancelled at this airport because of the airport. Any flights that were cancelled here was for another reason.
Tourism Minister Cecil Mackey thanked everyone for ensuring that the airport became a reality and pointed out that the AIA has catapulted SVG into a higher sphere of tourism access.
Who lent their support for us to be able to complete our largest capital project ever. Without their assistance, we would not have been able to do it. Put your hands together for all of those who supported in this project. Delivering
the feature address was Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who said although the Argyle International Airport is the most costly project for SVG at $700 million, the air facility is an asset to the country.
Development Bank don't give you no money. Well, you see, what happened is this. That was their problem. That was their problem. They only think inside of the box. They can't think outside of it. God give you your brain and He bless you, give you His grace, which has brought us safe thus far and will take us safely home.
Sharon Garraway reporting for SVG Television News.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has resigned from the Monetary Council of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. PM Gonsalves, one of the longest-serving members of the Monetary Council, has paved the way for his son, new Finance Minister Camilo Gonsalves, to take over. The Prime Minister's departure was announced at the just concluded 90th meeting of the Monetary Council in St. Kitts and Nevis. Prime Minister Gonsalves has been hailed for his contribution to the Monetary Council. Chairman of the Authority of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, indicated that PM Gonsalves' tenure was characterized by sagacious advice and astute strategizing that has helped to preserve the integrity and strength of the Eastern Caribbean currency. The ECCB serves as a central bank for Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts Nevis, Montserrat, and Anguilla. More opportunities are being made available for students here to pursue higher certification in the French language. The Alliance Française, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, is hosting a 4-day training workshop as part of the introduction of the DELF French examination for French teachers at the St. Vincent Girls High School, St. Vincent Grammar School, and St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown. The DELF certificate officially recognizes the level in French of non-native French speakers for professional or personal prospects, and also allows students to access French and French-speaking universities and schools for further studies in any discipline. The training is aimed at training teachers to the DELF examination content and certifying them in being official assessors and markers for the examination. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the training workshop was Executive Director of the Alliance Française, Vanessa Demission, who said the DELF certificate program will give students here the opportunity to gain an internationally recognized diploma in French studies, which can open doors for them in other countries, including Europe.
The DELF is a certification of French language abilities for non-native speakers of French, administered by the International Center for French Studies, CIEP, for France's Ministry of Education. It is composed of 4 independent diplomas corresponding to the first 4 levels of the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. So you have A1, A2, B1, B2. This is for the junior part of the examination that is concerning us today. The B2 level is the level required to register for higher studies in a French university. The DELF Scolaire, which is the DELF for juniors, is aimed at secondary school age students, 12 to 17, and the material is varied to ensure that it is appropriate to the target cohort.
The Alliance Française executive added that the program is intended to be available to students from Form 3 and explained what can be expected at each level of the program.
Ensuring that the learners master all aspects of the language and are able to use it in real-life situations. Also, it stimulates the students with topics adapted to their age group. The exam also attests their progress in learning the language. What are the objectives that we are looking at? The idea will be, with time, for all Form 3 students to sit the DELF exam at the A1 level, the first level of the exam, in order to secure for them a diploma of French, most of all for those who will unfortunately maybe not continue French after. Then for the Form 5 students that will prepare their CXC or not, they can also target a DELF exam of level A2 or maybe sometimes of level B1. So they will be coming out of secondary school already with a diploma of French that can open some perspectives for them and that will be valid for life.
Education officer responsible for foreign languages, Daryl Williams, said the program will be launched in 3 schools and expressed confidence in its success.
We want to start this program off in 3 pilot schools, and with pending success, we want to expand the DELF certification to all schools within St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I do hope that this session is fruitful for us all, and that as we begin to implement this policy, this certification, that St. Vincent and the Grenadines will advance a little bit more. I know Spanish seems to be taking over here and there, but French is still alive in many ways, and we all love French, we all love Spanish. So today we are going to do our best in making sure that these DELF exams work for us. It will be something that is tied in with CSEC. It's a certification that will allow students to study in French countries.
The Milton Cater Memorial Hospital was today presented with another donation of medical supplies. The supplies, which include 21 stethoscopes, were provided by the company Steto Hope founded on October 10, 2016, by young Jamaican-born Kenneth Jackson. Medical student Zovel Hyre explained that the company's Teto Hope was founded from the unfortunate passing of the founder's grandfather at the Spanish Town Hospital in Jamaica.
Now, his grandfather passed away not because his ailment was untreatable, but because of a lack of resources. So this for him was known as a hopeless situation. So what he wanted to do was offer hope to other people that would be in his situation in the future. So he embarked on starting this company, and what the company Teto Hope promises to do is that with the purchase of every stethoscope, one would be donated to a country in need. So they've already done donations to Guatemala, Vietnam, Cuba, and Jamaica. So what I did was contact him, and I spoke with him about the perspective of extending the outreach here in St. Vincent while I'm here, and he was avid, he was on board. He right away devised a discount code. It was called Hope SVG, and what that allowed is that the buyer would receive 10% off of their purchase, and also one stethoscope would be given to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital.
According to Hyre, who have facilitated other donations to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, as a medical student, she's always happy to be part of such initiatives.
Well, coming here to St. Vincent, I've honestly been greeted, and for the past 2 years experienced a set of the kindest, most welcoming individuals. I've had the opportunity of being here in the hospital, and through that I've also noticed that the doctors are very well equipped, the nurses, the staff, everything. They're very intelligent, they're well equipped, but of course donations can also go a long way. It can also help to facilitate the care here. I believe that as a medical student or a physician in training, it's not only in our power or our ability to diagnose, but also to treat ailments. And in the same regard, when we see a need, we shouldn't just look at the need, but we should help to meet that need. So,
Deputy Hospital Administrator Williams thanks Teto Hope for the donation, which he said is timely.
We know there was a long background on how this was developed, and we really appreciate what was done, and considering St. Vincent and by and large Milton Cato Memorial Hospital in this important gesture. This is timely as we are in an era of limited resources. I know, of course, healthcare servicing is great demand, especially in the so to speak third world countries, and we are so grateful. This is just another donation from this young lady. We hope that she would continue to donate more as she sees the need at Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, and we would be better equipped to serve our patients.
The introduction of new species of wildlife into a new ecosystem can cause tremendous harm to that environment. That's according to Senior Forestry Officer Cornelius Edwards, as he spoke on NBC Radio's Views on Issues program on Sunday, as the panel discussed issues in relation to SVG's wildlife. Speaking on the impact of invasive species such as the armadillo found here, as well as other wildlife creatures, Richard said the department has been monitoring their impacts, noting that any measure used to control the creatures must be scientific.
We are looking at it, Carla. We're really looking at it. It is an area of concern. Just like for the farmers, we are concerned that it's getting up into the upper watersheds above catchment, and it's causing trees to topple, and it is really becoming a problem. I can't say now how we're going to handle it, but it would be whatever we come up with, the design for managing the species would be done in different ways.
Can I give a suggestion?
Please do. I could tell you before you go, one of the things we're looking at is to encourage the hunting of it, lift it from a partially protected species to, yes, we're going to be looking at that. One of the things we observe is that Vincentians have not acquired the taste.
Oh, that is one. But
right. But if we can encourage, let's say, hunters from another island like Grenada to come and hunt the species, we're looking at a lot of different things. Okay. But everything is in the air for now, and whatever we do has to be scientific.
Speaking on hunting activities, the Senior Forestry Officer said Any business that depends on the hunting of various species must have sustainability to ensure its survival.
Is even conditioned by that. The conch, for example, has a particular season. Other species have season. You have to condition your business to suit that. If you don't do that, you're going to have a situation where you're going to have overcatch, and your business would collapse within a period of time.
So you're looking at sustainability.
So it's sustainability. It's in the interest of your business to follow the prescribed season. So in developing your business plan, let's say you decide to become a hunter for agouti, for example. I'm just being hypothetical. In developing that plan, your plan must stipulate that your harvesting and sale has to be done within a prescribed period. And that's a business. There's nothing that say your business has to be 12 months per year. Treachery is now a business, but it is conditioned by the movement of these fry into these areas at a particular time of the year. It's not an all-year activity. So, same to us.
So we're wrapping.
The senior forestry officer advised hunters to utilize humane practices when hunting wildlife and expressed concern about the use of air rifles in hunting activities.
Animals experience stress. They just they cannot express it as we would as human beings.
Indeed.
Animals would express stress by loss of feather, change in color, change in behavior, change of appetite. In some cases, if certain animals are caged, they'd no longer be sexually reproductive. Yes, animals experience stress. Not only tied up in some cases, in the bellies, in the bodies of these animals are pellets.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times they use air rifles, BB guns to take them down. And that's an area of concern that we have even in the wild, because in some cases you won't actually catch the animal and it suffers and die a long slow death in the wild after that.
And especially in cases where they might be shot at but were not
that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Yes. Suffer long pain.